Namaste. The topic of today's video is the importance of core values in human lives and the ways to develop these values in children. Now, in NEP 2020 and NCFFS, there is a lot of emphasis on development of foundational literacy and numeracy. But along with the development of foundational literacy and numeracy and other developmental goals, it is also very important to give the right kind of moral education to the children. Now, when we talk about imparting the right kind of values to the children, what is the importance of imparting core values to the children? Now, these core values, they actually act as the guiding principles that help them in their behavior and also in their decision making abilities. So in our daily life, we are faced with lots of complex calibrated stimuli. When we are faced with this stimuli, our mind may be pulled in different directions, several different kinds of directions, and the right kind of the decisions that you take may be just sometimes it may be just a moment of it may be a very impulsive decision or for the gratification at that particular point, which that decision may not be the right kind of decision, or it may lead to some kind of the reaction may not be appropriate, or we may take a decision which may be good in the long run. So what drives these kind of decisions that we take when we get an impulse or when we get a stimulus in our life? Now, these are those kind of what drives us is the values that we have. And people who are driven by core values, they will always have, whenever they are put in a difficult situation or whenever there is a confusion in the mind, these core values, they act as the compass. In a physical world, if we lose our way, then compass is the thing that helps us to find our direction or find our way. Similarly, in the situation in our life, these core values, they help us to find the right kind of decisions, to make the right kind of decisions, and to show the right kind of behavior in our daily life and whenever we are faced with a stimuli like that. Now, and these development of these core values become more important in the present scenario, because earlier these kind of values systems used to be automatically developed in the children because they were living in a joint family setup wherein there were lots of people. There were grandfathers and grandmothers who used to be there, and they used to tell them lots of stories, and there was lot of interaction between the family members. So the development of the values took place kind of automatically then. But in today's scenario, wherein most of the families are nuclear families and both the parents are working, and also this is a time of artificial intelligence, machine learning, chat GPT and social media. So the need to teach the core values or to develop the core values in the children becomes even more important. Now, the core values that are mentioned in NCFFS, they are the core values that I mentioned are truth, peace, righteous conduct, forgiveness, tolerance, empathy, helpfulness, courtesy, respect for elders, and patriotism, respect for people regardless of their background, and also respect for environment. Now, when we talk about these kind of values, first we have to think what is the right time to impart these kind of values in children. So it's always better to catch them young, and the foundational stages, that is from age 1 to age 8, that will be the most appropriate time. Of course, the kind of values that we impart that or the children learn that differs from different stages in their life, but the basic values or the core values remain the same. Now here today I am not going to discuss about all the values that need to be developed. I am only focusing on 6 important core values that if these values are developed in the children, I think it almost covers all the other values that needs to be imparted in the children. And these 4 values which I have identified, the 6 core values that I have identified are independence. First is independence, second patience, third is respect, fourth is gratitude, fifth is honesty, and sixth is compassion. Now, one by one I will briefly discuss all these core values, and the first one in our list is independence. Actually, if the children are very small, we should there is I have seen parents, there is a common thing among the parents that they want to do everything for the children, for their child. They feel that they are showing their love and affection by doing all the work for them, like from the time the child gets up, brushing the teeth and getting the child ready for the school and all the things, even making them eat, and putting the books in the bag or things like that. And also I've seen parents carrying the bag for the children. Now, from a very early age, it is always better to make the child independent. If the child is, the basic rule is that if the child is able to do certain things on his own, let us not wait. Let us not allow the child to wait for somebody else to do it for him. For example, the personal things, the personal hygiene, or the way the child ties the shoelaces, or his eating habits, or brushing the teeth, or things like that. It is always better to allow the child to do it on his own. And this not only helps a child to develop the fine motor skills and gross motor skills, but it also helps a child to develop the skill of problem solving ability, the decision making ability, and also the child develops confidence. So this is something very important. And if the child is not able to do certain things, then there is help is needed. But then there is also something called the gradual release of responsibility that is given in NCFFS. And the meaning of this gradual release of responsibility is that there are actually 4 stages to it. The thing is that you try to make the child independent, but first the teacher will show, or the parent will show how to do it. Then the parent or the teacher will do it together with the child. Then the child will do it, and the contribution of the parent or the teacher will be less. And then finally the 4th stage, the child does it on his own. So these are the 4 stages that we need to follow when we want to make the child independent. I have seen in schools, even some of the parents are so enthusiastic that even when the child is 10-year-old or 12-year-old, the parent is seen carrying the child's bag. The child is walking happily and the parent is carrying the bag. This kind of attitude or this kind of behavior will not help the child, because the child needs to be self-reliant. It's very, very important for the child, for anybody to become self-reliant. So this is one important core value that has to be kept in mind by both the parents and the teachers. Now the next core value that is there in my list is patience. Now children should learn the graciously waiting for their turn in the classroom or in any public place or the playground, or they should have the patience to wait graciously for the turn. Many occasions I have seen that most of the children, they are in the habit of they don't have patience, and that is mostly I have seen in today's generation. They want instant gratification for everything. They want to stand first. They want to when they want to show something to the children, they want to come first and show it, and they want attention in the class. So the thing is that child has not been taught to learn to wait for others or to wait for his turn. So this particular value has to be developed. Teachers, parents have to work together to make the child realize that child has to wait for his turn. Now, how to develop this core value of patience, I will come to that later. But then what happens is that once a child understands, or once a child develops the habit of the core value of patience, there are certain other values that are automatically developed, and these are calmness, self-control, empathy and resourcefulness. So a calm person or a person who is having self-control, he or she is able to do the work more efficiently and get along with people in a better manner. So this particular core value has to be compulsorily developed in the child. So also there is once a child develops patience, there is that kind of inner equilibrium and peace inside the child that helps him or her to become a better human being. So that is the second core value that has to be developed, that is patience. Now coming to the third very important core value that has to be developed from a very early age, that is from the foundational stage itself, and that is respect. Now in the heart of respect is actually the care and acceptance. So if the child is caring and accepting, then the child also learns to respect others' property, respect others' opinion, respect others' behavior. And it is not only about respecting human beings, it is also respecting the plants, respecting the animals, and also respecting the environment. So respecting the people, respecting the plants, respecting the things around him, and also respecting the property and the environment. So when I talk about respect, another very important thing that comes to my mind is that, of course, we should teach children to respect others, respect the environment, and respect others, respect elders, respect teachers, and respect others' opinion. But it is also very important to teach the child to not tolerate any disrespectful behavior also. So it's very important to be respectful towards others, and it is also very, very important to respect your own self. So if others are not respecting you, you should not be tolerant, and you should not tolerate that disrespectful behavior, and should also know, you should also have the tools to respond to such behavior. So this also has to be taught to the child, so that your good behavior or your respect towards others is not taken advantage of. So that is also very, very important. Now the next thing is, next important core value that the child has to, that we have to inculcate in the child, or the child has to have, is the feeling of gratitude. Now the gratitude is the gratitude towards, having a loving family, having a nice environment, having friends, having people around you. That kind of a gratitude gives an inner peace, and inner peace to the child, which is very, very important, especially in today's scenario. No, this is a world world of material excesses and willful misdirections by agenda-driven forces. So the child has to understand and respect or have the feeling of gratitude. At the same time, the child also should be able to understand the willful misdirections by agenda-driven forces. So it is a huge responsibility on the shoulders of the teachers, as well as to parents, as well as the parents, to make the child understand this. Now, coming to the next core value that the child should have is very, very important, and that is honesty. Honesty is actually being truthful at all times. Irrespective of the situation, if you are being truthful, then it is called honesty. And there are many other values that are developed in the child once they have this kind of, this basic or the core value of honesty. Once this is developed, the other kinds of values are automatically taken care of. The next thing next core value that a child should have is compassion. Now, the child should be able to see, we are all social beings, and we live in an environment where there are different kinds of people, where there are different kinds of animals, different kinds of situations, and different kinds of environments. And if the child is able to show concern and care for the needs of others, then it is known as compassion. So to understand and care for someone who is in difficulty and help them out, that is known as compassion. So if the child is developing that, it can be your friend, it can be your parents, it can even be a bird or an animal or anything, or just compassion for the environment. So this kind of core value, if it is developed in the child, it is also, as I said, as is the case with honesty, this takes care of many other core values. And very important in today's world is that the child should be able to empathize with that person or with the thing that is in a difficult situation. So if the child is able to empathize and develop this compassion, many problems that we face in the society can be solved. Now, I have listed 6 core values that has to be developed in the child for the child to be, or for a happy and healthy child, and who is not only contributing to the society, but also he himself is a truly happy and resourceful person. That is a child who is that holistic development of the child. I'm talking about the holistic development of the child here. So I have talked about this core values that has to be developed. Okay, fine. Now, what are the methodologies that can be followed for the development of these core values? There are actually 2 methods. One is a direct method and one is an indirect method. In the direct method, when we are interacting with the children, there should be activities and teaching learning activities and teaching learning outcomes that bring about this development of core values in the children. Now, there are lots of activities that teachers can plan, and even parents can help the child to develop these qualities. As far as the children in the foundational stage are concerned, they learn by observation. So whatever they observe, they imbibe it as it is. So if the parent or the teacher is being honest, or being compassionate, or being independent, being respectful, and those kind of things that he sees around him or her, the child will automatically develop that. Or the stimuli is there, those kind of stimuli are there, and the reactions to people around him, he learns from them, he or she learns from them. So that is very important. So when we are interacting with the child, when you are speaking to the child, the language that we use, the activities the child does in the class, or the way the teacher interacts with that child, and the way the teacher interacts with the other children also matters a lot. Now, coming to the indirect method, in the indirect method comes these, the very important pedagogical tools for developing values is storytelling. So in our Indian tradition, we have lots of stories, and the stories of Panchatantra, the stories of Hitopadesha, Aesop's tales, Akbar Birbal stories, and there are lots of good moral stories that can be told in the class, or you can take them to an ICT class and show them those stories. Videos are available. So with those stories, it becomes very easy for children to imbibe those values. So stories are very important, very powerful medium for teaching the values, indirectly teaching the values to the children. And of course, in our tradition, there are lots of folk tales from different parts of India. There are different kinds of folk tales that also help us. There are many in the textbooks as well. The NCERT textbooks are full of these kinds of stories. But then in our daily life, if we are able to sit with the children and read these stories aloud to them, or to show them those kinds of visuals or audio visual stories, then it will be very easy for the child to imbibe the values. Now, hope this video will be useful to all the parents and teachers out there in developing basic core values in the holistic development of the children.